Prepare yourself for invasion. This is Indie Invasion.
What's up, party dudes?
I had to do a quick little booger check there. Make sure I didn't have boogers when we get in. What's up,
happening, guys? Welcome to Thursday night. Sorry we missed last week. I was in Colombia.
Real life stuff.
I thought about jumping on the phone, but I was driving. It was dark. You know, it's probably not the best thing in the world.
Yeah, we wouldn't want you in a ditch as you're streaming. That.
Yeah. I got a Jeep. As long as I end up in the ditch the right way, I mean, I can get back out, so it's okay. Tonio, what's happening, sir? Welcome from the great white north, the frigid, cold north.
Probably they probably still got snow up there.
Oh, yeah, you guys might still have snow. It was 87 here today.
Holy cow.
Yeah, no holy cow. Just 87. So what? Well, you can't even show off what you've been working on because what is that? Did you just slap a sticker on that, or
that's all that is? That's a.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa!
Did you can find on Redbubble.com?
You could probably get the whole thing on Redbubble.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't want to steal your thunder because all the stuff you were showing me, because that's all you've been working on. Have you been working on anything?
A little bit. I started just cleaning, nothing paint yet. Just when I get a couple minutes here and there, I'd sit down. You know, I got the my little files and my blades and stuff there, and I'm just trying to clean up a little bit. And
well, look at there.
Whoa. Stranger.
Yeah, I know, right? Welcome, sir. Welcome.
He's not gallivanting, you know.
I know, right? It's
joining us.
Shop must be closed tonight. And his printer is overworked, so he's got to take a break.
Yeah. So that's what I've been working on hobby-wise for gaming. Just been kind of crazy busy. I mean, spring's going, so it's like trying to between work and house stuff and hard to get that hobby time in.
Yep. Getting caught up on the time to start cutting the grass, and
I did already this week. I had to break down and do because it was starting to look patchy, and I didn't do any of my fall cleaning, so I had to do it now. All the leaves all over in the corners and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I've been working on BattleTech terrain.
I like that. That's cool building.
Painting. This is the so they just Gale Force 9 is producing this stuff for Thunderhead Studios, which is it's Hex Tech terrain.
Oh, okay.
But I'm printing it because it's kind of cool. He has some sort of licensing deal with Gale Force 9 where they're producing it at regular BattleTech scale. But you can still buy all the STLs.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
Apparently, I was reading something on the Facebook page the other day about how the initial deal for it was they weren't going to let them. They were going to rotate stuff. Like if Gale Force 9 was doing it, it wasn't going to be in the STL store. It wasn't going to be on My Mini Factory.
Okay.
Well, they're done with that. They're like, whatever, just let it go on My Mini Factory. So these are, of course, printed at 135% so that they fit on the HeroScape tiles.
Okay.
As much as I would like to say that I printed all of these, I printed some of these. And then one of the dudes in the BattleTech group was like, hey, I have a whole bunch of that stuff I printed at 135 and I can't give it away.
Wow.
Because nobody wants it at 135 because there's not that many people playing on the HeroScape tiles.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get rid of it because, Todd, you'll appreciate this. He bought a bamboo printer and he wants to print them all in color.
Oh, wow.
So he doesn't have to paint them.
Okay.
I'm like, well, now I'm going to have to buy a bamboo printer because I don't want to paint them either. But I'm painting them anyway, daggum. I'm finding the simplest way I can. Prime them a certain color, paint the windows, do a couple details. Looks good on the table. So Well, there's Terrence.
We were just talking about you, Terrence, and looks like Terrence is looking for some stuff to buy.
Oh, you're looking for some stuff to buy. Wow.
That's what it sounds like to me.
I'd be willing to bet we could probably rustle something up that you would like.
I think so. We get that finger wag at us quite a bit for that sort of thing.
Well, I will say this: Cyberpunk Red is back in stock, and Discover Games just got a big shipment.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have that one yet, Terrence, but it's pretty fun. I would, if I had a larger gaming group here that I knew would play multiple games that we could rotate, that we weren't all so daggum busy all the time, I'd get into it. It's a good game. Really good game.
Well, the other thing I wanted to open with was some news besides our little chit-chat banter, but pretty good.
Did you like that?
I like that. So we got some news just this week from Adepticon, actually. Now, let me put this up here. Adepticon is moving next year. I think some of us kind of saw this coming because they always had issues with hotels. Parking was horrendous there. And they claimed they actually grew this past year 20%.
Wow.
So the tabletop gaming thing is it's healthy. And they announced they're going to a new venue in Milwaukee. So Milwaukee has a convention center there that they just finished doing oh my gosh, I can't remember. I looked up the number, but it was like some astronomical millions of dollars.
Yeah, you told me it was like 1 million square foot venue.
Yeah, and it's just huge. I don't think they'll ever run out of space here for
never say never.
But for a long time. Yeah. So it's going to be at the how do you say that? Bard Center, Milwaukee, which is right in the historic downtown. Like if you know this area and you know Summerfest, which is right on the lakefront, it's not far from there. So it's right off the highway. For me, it doesn't change anything. I'm just going north now instead of south.
Well, they went the wrong way though.
Yeah, and it's just north of the airport. So if you guys are flying in, it's pretty easy to get to that way too. A lot of people are saying that it gives you shades of the old Gen Con. And actually looking at the venue, so they don't really show any pictures.
Todd said he hears that Gen Con might be moving too.
Which surprises me. Now, they have enough space in the convention centers, hotels that they have a problem with.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can share.
Terrence said he's got Relic Blade, Blood Bowl, and Gaslands in the queue. Mobile Arms is on the horizon. Those are all good small skirmish games too.
So here's a little bit of some of the pictures of the place. It really reminds me of Gen Con. It's very modern, a lot of glass and windows, to give you that open space feeling.
Yeah. What's up, Alder? Good morning, sir. For those of you that don't know, Alder's in Australia. That's why he says good morning. He's not crazy.
Like this shot here just totally reminds me of the convention center in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
A lot of space for people to walk around. I mean, granted, it's going to be Adepticon. It ain't going to look like this.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of nerds packed in that place. Oh, yeah. With their carts and stuff. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool to see some of these pictures. Let's see. Look at this one. It's got an indoor waterfall. That's kind of nice. So it just looks very spacious. And
how many nerds do you think you're going to end up in the waterfall?
Well, I guess it depends on the time of the day and if they have a beer cart like.
Oh man, it's too bad Sean's not here. We could tell him, look, this is the perfect Drowned Earth. That's where he set Drowned Earth up right there next to the waterfall. It's perfect.
There's some groundbreaking right there.
Wow, man, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's some serious stuff, man.
We may barely make it to the topic tonight. Just
I think this took them.
Place.
They started this in 21, so they've been working on this for a while. But yeah, that's just something to look into. If you guys want to check it out, go to Adepticon's website, and you can read the full article there. I think they have some more pictures somewhere. I was trying to dig to find some pictures, but they didn't really have a whole lot because I don't think they've had anything there since they finished.
Just out of pure morbid curiosity, I wonder how much Adepticon has to pay to use that place.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know what kind. It sounded like this is a deal they've been working on for a while. I mean, I think they knew it was coming, that they had to do something. So I think it's one of those that just lined up. It was close, and
they probably sacrificed a couple of the nerds. A couple people that went to Adepticon never came home this year.
Yeah, had a little ceremony with some corn.
They did something. I don't know. They did something. They say you can lock these ones in the basement or something. I don't know. Because that has got to be expensive. Because it's ridiculous to run one. Because I'm still trying to get upfront money.
I think this is a good move for them, just based on hotels and parking, and even if you want to get away, there's so much to do right in that area,
right?
That you won't have to go far from the convention center to actually enjoy it. So, but anyway, that's a little bit of news. Like I said, check it out on Adepticon's website. You can read more into it. They got all the hyperlinks in there, so you can check out the convention center and maybe start scoping out those hotels. I don't know.
I got my hotels like right underneath Eric. That's where his spare room is.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So what's Terrence saying? Looking forward to seeing how hotels and events registration goes next year. Yeah, there's always a rush. Bigger class is just more room for it. Yeah, so who knows? We don't know. Yeah. Pretty early. I think next year is going to be like one of those trial type of things.
Yeah, I think people got to extend them a lot of grace next year, because as efficient as they are at running their con, to be uprooted, there's going to be a little bit of growing pains. So a little bit of grace for them, I think, is going to be necessary for the millions of people that watch our videos. Extend them a little grace, or the hundreds of people that watch them, whichever one it is. Okay, just somewhere in between those two numbers. But I was looking at this topic. How do you dive into a new game and start? I don't know why you picked this topic for us, because for us now, I'm going to sum this up with how we started, and then we're going to suggest how you should start it.
I think what it was is somebody, I think recently, probably at Adepticon, I overheard this question a couple times.
Okay.
So I still got Adepticon in my head. And you go to the booths and you look at stuff. And for us, it's a little bit different unless it's a brand new game type of thing. Because we kind of just dive in right away without thinking about it. But I hear that a lot from either newer gamers or just somebody wanting to get into a game. Where do I start? What do I get?
Okay, wait, let me. So here's the Indie Invasion answer. You buy all of the books. If there's 8 factions, you buy all 9 of them. No, I didn't make a numeric error there.
Make it rain money.
That's right. If there's custom dice, tokens, rulers, measuring tapes, just get everything, and then you can play. Okay, now we'll talk about how you should really do it. That's just how we do it.
So, and I see this trend in a lot of gaming companies. What they do is they kind of cater their starting product, I guess we want to call it, towards that new gamer, right? Oh, we got step 1. Oh,
listen to Indie Invasion. Step 2, buy everything they were talking about. Yes, buy all the things.
Getting a cut of that, right? But a lot of companies are starting to cater towards this to make it easier, so there's no question of what do I get type of thing. Now, sometimes you do have a little bit of wiggle room of, getting starter stuff that maybe you like more than another faction type of thing. But generally they give you like a basic starter set, a box set of some kind that comes with 2 forces usually. So you and a buddy, you can hook a buddy onto it, or a lot of times what I see is they split it, right? They get a box set and split it.
And you got to give props to faction. You really got to give props to Games Workshop on that, because they're really the ones that really started doing that.
Yeah,
with
I think
the
so
box
too.
sets, the 2 starter army kind of thing.
And then put everything you would need in there, right? Like maybe a quick start rule book. So if you like it, you can go get the bigger one, the expanded one with all the fluff and whatnot. They'll give you just enough, sometimes dice in these starter sets, measuring widgets of some kind, whether they're paper or cardboard or MDF or something, you know. So they want to give you basically everything you need to start playing, and then you can expand out from there. Right. So I think that is the basic thing that we see as the best way to start. And yeah, you just go from there. Now,
that's a good point too, Todd. I think Outlaw did a really good job too.
Yeah.
On the way that they did their stuff. I was sad to see that company go away as well, because I thought that they handled well. I don't need to rehash what I think about Wild West Exodus first edition under Outlaw, or even first edition under War Cradle. Mm-hmm. But I think another thing in the how do you dive into a new game and start, something that kind of gets missed in certain areas is if you do have a game store, they really play a huge role in that. And I know we plug Discover Games all the time, but I want to give them a shout out on this because they do this really well, of making sure that someone is there to show you how to play a game.
A champion.
Even if it's them, because that's really a great way to dive into a game, because even before having to buy the starter box, to be able to give it a shot is pretty huge, which is why things like Adepticon and Gen Con are, so awesome, because you get that opportunity to do that. What in the world? See, there you go, Judge Dredd.
Get a starter and then get hooked onto it before you even try it and start getting that.
Bob said he gets into a game badly. However he gets into it, it's usually the wrong way. It's not the wrong way. It's the indie invasion way. It's the buy everything. We know, Bob. We understand. We feel your pain.
Sometimes
Terrence not being nice to us. Both you turn around and tell the new players how many of those minis or rules have been played. Now, I will say this. One thing I'm good about is I will get it to the table quickly after I get it. That may be the only time it gets to the table.
So you try it, right?
I do. I make it a point to try it. And I haven't tried Yefsiga yet, but that one was a gift. So that one sort of falls into a weird space.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? And sometimes a lot of people get stuff because they're interested in maybe the genre or maybe the rule set. They're curious about just the rule set. And that's a good way to try, to get it and at least read it, try it once maybe, and be like, yeah, okay, that was fine, and just to have fun with the rules, I guess, for that one time.
Yeah. So I like what Tonio says here too, that he doesn't care as he buys in for the minis first. And then if I can play, it's a bonus. But that second half that he says they're looking for local groups if you like to have options in players. That's really a big thing. We've talked about this a couple of times over the past couple of months. It's why I've been playing so much BattleTech, because it's what I can get to the table.
Yeah.
It's what is going to be played on a regular basis that I'm able to do. And so that sort of changes the whole dynamic of what I'm going to dive into, because just like Tonio said there, that's what I'm looking at too. I'm looking at that's my old dog. Sorry. He's having a little trouble over there. He's like 200 years old.
Man, cut back on his pack of smokes.
He's like 200 years old. But I like to get it for the minis as well, just to collect them.
Well, I know you, like I mentioned, a lot of times we just get it for the rules. That's you. You love.
Yeah, I love rule books, man. I love rule books.
What's Terrence saying here? So, I feel you here. Game champion is so hard. Let me tell you. Not telling you anything. What makes it harder is when the company isn't doing the legwork to give their fans tools or opportunities to draw in new players. Yes, it is hard to champion a game sometimes. It really takes a passionate person or a passionate store that has that product, and they want to see the product be successful. And but what else is Terrence saying here? He said, but the game is always secondary to the players that the game draws.
Yeah. So, as far as the legwork for the game company, I agree with that. They have to be there. But I think and I know we've talked about this before too, is, there's a fine line there too, because they get burned from the guys that just want stuff. They don't really want to champion the game. They just want free junk. And so they don't do any leg work. You know what I mean? It's like you're darned if you do and you're darned if you don't.
Double-edged sword.
Yeah, it really is. But they still should be, to some degree, supporting, even if it's just new product coming out. You know what I mean? Todd, Eric's not going to like you on that one. Having more passion for a game than the company does. Looking at you, War Cradle. See, I'm going to end up with all the WWX first edition people.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Not just with War Cradle, but other games too. Mantic's been, they've had that problem. It's hard for companies to do that. So I think that's why a lot of times they do these, kind of easy ways to jump in and get started. That they don't have to. I don't want to say it's minimal effort, but it's just an easier entry point, I guess, is what it is.
I think the starters are the way to go, and it doesn't even have to be a 2-player starter. Terrence mentioned Relic Blade, right? Relic Blade is a super easy game to get into.
Yeah,
it is super easy, and as far as obviously this hobby that we have, this is all disposable income. So none of it's cheap to do. It's like, when I was still riding motorcycles, HD doesn't stand for Harley Davidson. It stands for $100 because that's what everything costs. That's the minimum everything costs. But it's the same thing. It's a luxury item. But as far as like Relic Blade goes, it's a cheap game to get into. $5, you can get the PDF and print the cards.
Yep.
You literally only need a handful of models. Even if you own all of them, you're not even going to have. You'll barely have squads.
Maybe 5 minis.
Yeah, max. 5-6 minis. So some games are just easy to get into. Which Relic Blade kind of makes me think of on the opposite end of that spectrum, Twilight. I don't think that that's an easy game to get into. Like if you go to the website, it's difficult to navigate. Mm-hmm. You have to know a little bit of what's going on with the fluff. You have to have kind of already read the book. There's not really a starter set.
No, there's starter factions. They'll give you like basic factions that you can just pick 2 and then get the rule book and go.
Yeah. But it's a little difficult to. Now that one's worth the effort. Don't get me wrong. That one's definitely worth the effort. That's Tonio just piped in on that. The starter faction sets, but maybe it's just me, but I find the website a little difficult to navigate, and that's an obstacle. That's an obstacle to getting into a new game, and those super easy things to get into. Like a Relic Blade, or Todd had mentioned on here the stuff at Black Site, where you're getting a box set, or even as much as everybody hates Games Workshop, I don't, but as much as people do,
there we go.
They do a really good job of packaging their stuff. There you go. Burrows and Badgers. Pick the minis you want, buy the rule book. And that's literally it. That's another real, and that one, and the interesting thing about that is, even though there are a couple starters for that, it's
doesn't like really matter.
Yeah, it makes no difference. I almost think the Burrows and Badgers is unique. You just want to go pick them. It's almost like you want to tell Mr. Lovejoy, it's like, no. Get rid of these starter packs. What are you doing? I need to go pick my cool animals.
Well, like Burrows and Badgers, it's basically, it's like D&D. It's a bunch of, friends get together. They all have different characters. It doesn't matter if they complement each other, and you just go.
Yeah. So Tonio says he prefers single faction starters. Mythic Americas is doing the same thing with if I'm understanding your statement correctly, sir. But Mythic Americas is doing that too, and I rather like that as well. But I do understand I see those 2-player starters as they're really good gateways, because most everybody that listens to us Yeah, there you go. The faction starter. Everybody that listens to us is pretty much seasoned gamers. I mean, we would love to have some new folks in here too, but most of you guys are seasoned gamers. So we're not as much looking for that 2-player starter. And if we are, it's only because it's a good deal. And
yeah, that or it's like a brand spanking new game, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, the starters, like you mentioned, are good for the brand new players, the players that maybe haven't played a lot of games, the younger players.
But therein lies the flaw that Tony O points out in every 2-player starter. One rule book.
Yep.
One rule book. Now, here, this is purely my opinion, but those ones that do like a small paper one, not necessarily a quick start rules, but a small, say like the little A5 one that War Cradle did for Wild West Exodus as an example. Why not put 2 in there?
Yeah. You just cut out the fluff.
Maybe it's not cost effective. I don't know. That's just that's just my opinion of would that be feasible?
I mean, we're not businessmen, but I'm sure that's that's a big reason of it. But
I mean, it probably has to do with money or something,
And you don't really want to do anything like too different, especially a smaller company where they don't have that capital to do that. Where they can do something completely different.
Yeah.
And then have the alternative if you really want to dive in, like, GW can easily do.
That's why some of the stuff that's really cool is like Todd pointed out to, and Alder, Burrows and Badgers, the Frostgrave set, where you just go in, you buy a rule book, you pick your minis from an assortment of minis. Those both work really well. And with Frostgrave, you can just get whatever you want. I mean, I know that they have miniatures that they made specifically
just
for
needs to be fantasy.
But related. It just needs to be fantasy with a heavy jacket. You know what? It's supposed to be cold in Frostgrave. You don't want the barbarian running around with no shirt and a loincloth. Come on.
Hey,
I want realism in my zombie fighting mummies and sorcery spell casting game.
You don't know. He could be a polar bear member.
He could be. He could be a lichen, and turns into a polar bear. He just likes that cold weather. You never know. And Todd makes a good point too, is the PDF options are out there now,
which I've seen more and more now, as it's getting easier. I know you hate that.
I hate PDFs, man.
You can easily, like I know you've done, you take it, you go print it, you spiral bound it, and then you're good to go.
Yep. Sometimes I'll print particular books. I'll print them anyway if I get a PDF with it, because they won't lay flat when you're using them. And those spiral bounds will lay flat when you're playing, which is great.
Put your little color tabs on it.
+2 loincloth of cold resistance. I don't know. It's supposed to be pretty cold. He might need a +4, or at least a bracer of extra cold resistance in there.
Man.
But my barbarian for Frostgrave was Goldilocks. That works too. That works.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I think there's lots of ways to dive into a game. There's the indie invasion way, which is probably the wrong way, which is just buying everything, and then doing an unboxing and playing it one time, putting it on the shelf. The faction starters, starter boxes, whatever it is, are just good entry points into these games.
So if you're looking at a game that kind of interests you a little bit, look for those. Don't get overwhelmed by like all the minis.
Yeah.
Look for that sample.
And the other thing too is those games that do have PDFs. A lot of times you can get them before the game is out. So that's another good entry. A lot of games these days are giving you the opportunity to read the rule book before you purchase it and kind of decide whether or not you want it. I know we've talked about Cyberpunk Red a couple of times, and you can go read that rule book right now.
Yeah. So I like when companies offer that. So right away, they're kind of giving you a sampling of the game.
And our friend Jordan did that with the new edition of County Road Z.
Yeah, I did. So what's up, Anthony?
The book was ready to go. You just had to wait for it from Modiphius, but the second you bought it, boom, you got the PDF. So There was a set of fantasy characters based on storybook characters. Okay.
Yeah, that big Mike. That's the problem with Games Plus. You always find something there that you're like, I gotta have that.
Terrence making all kind of good points today. Blood Bowl is a super easy in game, man.
Low grow leagues. That's another good way to jump into a game on how to start.
I mean, Blood Bowl has been pretty consistent for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, a long time. For Carnivale at Adepticon did it the wrong way.
He did it our way.
We didn't do it the wrong way. That's the indie invasion way.
Yeah,
we try to remove all those negative connotations. Like, it's not a pile of shame, it's a pile of opportunity. And so you didn't do it the wrong way, you did it the indie invasion way. So it's all good. It's all good. I did the same thing though, but I did it on the Carnivale Kickstarter. So I went all in on the Kickstarter. Yeah, Blood Bowl, there's lots of good, easy ways to get in there. And I think, too, that as seasoned gamers, that's some of the information that if we happen to be in a game store, that we offer that insight to new players, you know?
Oh, Anthony.
You even bought a buddy a few boxes of the Rashar. Oh, yeah, that's totally the indie invasion way. I do the same thing. I'm like,
everything for yourself and a buddy.
Well, you have to. It's so that
excuses.
You have a faction that they can use.
Yeah.
So you can introduce them to the game. That's why I bought a 3D printer. Because now I'm just like, hey, you want to play this game? Like, yeah, I don't want to invest. Dude, $20, you buy me some resin, I'll print you a whole army. So anyway, I think that's what we got for tonight. Is next week hobby night?
Next week should be hobby night. Okay. I think last week of the month.
So if anybody wants to join us and you have a camera and a microphone, shoot us a message on the Facebook page, and we'll see about
or Discord.
Or Discord, and got to have that opposing force for the demo game. I couldn't agree with you more. Right. I could not agree with you more. You're speaking my language, man. So yeah, if you want to join us next week, we would love that. Pull some stuff out, get some projects set up, and I don't know what I'm going to be working on because I actually, with the old 3D printer now, I got some 54 mil Inquisitor models I printed.
When you posted those, I was like, wait a second, what is going on?
54. Do you remember when that game came out?
Yeah, that was a good one, though. I like that one.
Yeah, so Todd says he'll put a camera on the bamboo and stream it. Okay, that's what I could put a camera on my resin printer over here.
Like watching grass grow. What the heck?
I don't know. That bamboo's pretty fast. That thing's pretty dang fast, man. I'm not gonna lie. I've watched a couple videos. That sucker's pretty fast. But anyway, I think that wraps us up for the night. Again, last time, if you want to join us next Thursday on screen, on camera, live for as long as we go, I may have special guests too, actually, because Nando's going to be home on leave.
Oh,
so I may force him to come down here too. He won't paint anything, but make him come down here.
Come hang out.
Yeah, he'd come hang out. All right.
I think you're up, sir.
Well, I was going to check with Todd because he would know.
Are you keeping track, Todd?
Todd always keeps track for us. That's his job. That's what he does around here. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Fastest 30-ish minutes in wargaming. And, wait, before I take us all the way in, over on the Instagram page, I got to share this because I thought it was hilarious. And all you old dudes here will get this joke. Is Todd or Zinvaded had posted a picture of one of their games going on. And for those of you that don't know, Zinvaded is real world scale. So they're little aliens,
1-to-1.
Just play wherever. And someone had set up the table, and there was one of the Zinvaded models standing next to a card game called the Oregon Trail.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Right. Except for those of you that remember Oregon Trail, I messaged I put a comment on there and I said, that dude better move or he's going to die of dysentery. So for those of you that remember Oregon Trail, you'll get that joke. Anyway, I thought that was hilarious. Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. You can join us every Thursday night. Next week will be hobby night, so we'll be having fun. If you like what we're doing here, like, follow, subscribe, smash every button. Share the videos too. That gets a little bit more coverage so that we can draw some new followers and get some new topics and talk about new stuff and just have a general good old time. Also, you can check us out on all the podcast channel worlds, iHeartRadio, all those things. Also, Facebook, YouTube, it's not even Twitter anymore.
What is it now? X? Yeah.
X. And Discord. You can also drop us the line at indieinvasion@gmail.com. But the place where most of the stuff goes on is over on Discord. So if you want to check out some pictures and stuff, pop on over to the Discord channel. You can see we have monthly paint challenges going on. Thanks, Alder, for starting that up.
Yeah.
And lots of pictures posted over there, mostly Battletech stuff right now because I keep printing and painting stuff. And don't forget to check us out on Redbubble where you can get hats, coffee cups. Well, you don't need hoodies anymore because it's changing that time of year, but you can get stickers, possibly flip-flops. I don't know. You may be able to get a pair of flip-flops. I am unsure, but I'm not ready for those yet. You get tank tops, shorts, all kinds of stuff over on Redbubble. Go
booty shorts.
Listen, Linda. I don't know. I haven't looked. In a while, so I'm not sure. But when you're out there playing games and starting out those new games and buying everything the Indie Invasion way to add to your pile of opportunity, don't forget to prepare yourself for the invasion.